Well, thank you, Chuck, and good morning. It's great to be here. So what's the best of times? What are the reasons we should be optimistic about this? First of all, we have very low mortgage rates. They're extremely low, historically low. That's why I've given you a long history here, and I expect them to stay that way. I don't expect mortgage rates, even by the end of next year, to go above 6%. And the basic reason for that is this is a very slow economic recovery. And so we're not going to have a lot of demand for capital. We're not going to have a lot of other pushing up of interest rates. And so that will remain an important component of moving forward. We do have pent-up demand. You know, you hear a lot about the shadow supply of existing homes, the supply that's not on the market, but it's out there looming, the potential foreclosures, all that shadow supply. Well, we have a shadow demand. We have a demand that hasn't revealed itself yet. It's households that didn't form. Those, believe it or not, were all the good points. Those are all the reasons you should feel like there's something coming. Now, what are the bad points? What are the reasons why we feel a little worried about this? Well, first of all, you know, this is the slump. This is just a pictorial of how we have slumped from our peak. 1.6 million single-family homes at the peak of the market. We're down around 300,000 right now. We did have this little bump up right after the end of the recession, the result mostly of the home buyer tax credits, but then we've slumped since then. So we're not back down to where we were, and I am still predicting that we will not have a double dip. Once sales pick up, then starts will pick up. Once you start seeing people buy your houses and buy your competitors' houses, you'll get back in the marketplace. And I am assuming that credit will begin to get a little easier to get.
And when house prices fall, something that we really didn't expect, certainly on this scale, and most of us hadn't seen a lot of that, it interacts with leverage, particularly high leverage, to reduce the equity that homeowners have, and that's the pernicious part. So that is by way of saying the fact that house prices have not fallen sharply, although I said there is this pressure that's still there, is a huge positive for this part of the country, that we don't have the big declines in house prices. Here's delinquencies. So what I'm defining as serious delinquencies, that fraction of mortgages that are at least 90 days past due or in foreclosure. Kentucky doing much better than the nation as a whole. It's still very high, but better, and that I think is most closely tied to the lack of the big rise in house prices and then the big decline. Just a real quick look at commercial. These are vacancy rates for office properties. The solid line is the national, very large increase, and the most recent number is indicated by the dot there. The first quarter of 2011, still 17.5% vacant across the nation's metro areas, and then the blue circles below are the Louisville metro areas, which were very much the same as the national before the recession, but that number has not gone up as much, so these conditions are better here, not as much vacancy, and the most recent number suggests it's actually come down a bit, to about 14.5.
It's like a bad diet. You got fat, and it takes a long time to get skinny again.